Hello and welcome to the SEO plus AI show. My name is Josh, testing SEO like crazy Bashinsky. And with me, as always, I have my co-host, Greg Bassani. Say hi there, Greg.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Josh, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent, my friend. I'm glad that we remembered the shows today because we're like, what? Oh, yeah, right, the show's today. So if you've never seen the SEO plus AI show before, is the show where we guess, is Josh drinking rum and Coke, or is it just rum? It's neither. It's 10 a.m. in the morning. Really. But we are the best show for SEO and AI information on the tubes of use. And today we've got a really exciting, action-packed show for you today, talking about all the latest new stuff that's going on in SEO and AI. SEO and AI is the place to be. There's conferences being put out by SEO and AI, like SEO Rockstars, for example, has got SEO plus AI. Everyone is on the train of SEO plus AI, and we were the first to be on the train of SEO plus AI, and we build AIs, we test AIs to help you with your SEO. So today we're going to be talking about this new thing that came out on Search Engine Journal or Search Engine Land, one or the other, the TW BERT, the term weighting BERT. Now, what is BERT? BERT is the bidirectional encoder representations from Transformer. It is AKA one of the first large language models that Google produced. And it does score terms in ranking. And so they just put out this new thing called TW BERT, this white paper on it. And so we wanted to test to see if it's actually in the algorithm and how you can change your pages to get better scoring on your pages for TW BERT. So we're going to be doing some preliminary testing into that. I'll show you some stuff how that works. Also, we're going to show you some new stuff in Keyword Spy, which is the absolute best SEO plus AI tool on the planet. So let's get right to it. So what is TW BERT? So, and what is why are we talking about AI and SEO anyway? So unless you've been living under a rock, you won't know that AI has exploded in the world. And the main AI that exploded the most is kind of this deep learning neural network that does machine learning, and it's a transformer that transforms text into something else, usually text into text or text into images or text into video. That is really the kind of doing a text prompt and producing other kind of content with it really is the mainstay of kind of the AI that's going on right now, aside from just normal machine learning with Bayesian filters and things like that. So this new BERT that came out, now BERT is one of the many algorithms that Google has. Now let me show you here the Google algorithms. So here's this TW BERT article from Search Engine Land that I've been talking about, and it means term weighting. So let me show you this example here. This really kind of explains how it's going to work. Here's the standard lexical model here. This is the standard lexical retrieval model. Oops, where'd it go? Here it is. So if you search for Nike running shoes, each of these terms in the Nike running shoes would be equally weighted. So Nike, running, and shoes would all have the same weight. And then there'd be a scoring function of some kind. And then they would do a query document score. They'd score a document based on the scoring of the words. And that's important to remember, that that's how Google does their ranking, is that it's all based on scoring of words in the document. That is the main way they do on-site or on-page ranking. And don't forget, that includes many other AIs other than just semantic AIs. Like you're thinking, okay, they're trying to score words on the meaning of Nike running shoes. Yes, but they're also trying to score words on the query intent, which is the term weighting that we're talking about here. They're also trying to score words on how helpful it is. They're also trying to score words on how much experience you have, how much expertise you're showing, the authoritative words, the trust words. There's all kinds of words they score in different ways. And each of the scoring gets a certain weight like this. And that's how they score up the on-page or on-site algorithms. So how does it work with the TW BERT? Well, the TW BERT, you see the change here. So when they run Nike running shoes through BERT, you see the weight queries are different, right? So they're going to weight the word Nike much higher compared to the word running and compared to the word shoes. And so they're going to do weighted retrieval, where when people search for Nike running shoes based on the query intent, they only want to see Nike running shoes. They don't want to see Adidas running shoes for the most part. They don't want to see, whatever, Skechers running shoes. They don't want to see rubber boots. They want to see Nike. They want to see running shoes, and they want to see Nike running shoes. And that's the second thing, is that this phrase is also highly weighted as well. You see it's got a higher weight than before, 1.5 and 1.1. So those different weights function into and flow into the query document score after they do their whole scoring function, which also includes links and traffic and all the other ranking signals and things like that. And then they show you what has a ranking loss. So they're removing pages away. So that's really important to remember, that they're removing pages away. And so I've done a full suite of testing on this. You can see I have a PowerPoint running here. I've done a full suite of testing on this for my underground SEO university, which the results always get built into our tool Keyword Spy that I mentioned earlier, which is the best SEO and AI keyword tool out there. Shameful plug. Try Keyword Spy free for 2 weeks without adding your credit card. Just go to trykeywordspy.com and shameless plug. So I'm going to show you guys how you could do one level of testing. So if you're like, okay, Josh, how do I manipulate TW-BERT? How do I know which words in a query are weighted in a certain way? And how can I test it quickly? And how can I move quickly in a quick and dirty way? Okay, so if you want the full way of doing the testing, you need to join Underground SEO University, or you need to use a premier AI tool like Keyword Spy, which we reverse engineer. We test, we don't reverse engineer. Ooh, that was close. I almost leaked it. Google almost caught me. We test Google's various AIs, and they have a ton of AIs. They have RankBrain, they have BERT, as I mentioned, and they also have this TW-BERT. They have neural matching. All four of those are totally different AIs that work in totally different ways. Well, TW-BERT and BERT are really the same transformer, but they work in different ways. They also have the helpful content POM2 transformer, which is looking for helpful words, and they're scoring words, just like I showed you there. And the review content AI, which I believe is a transformer, POM2, which they're scoring words as well. And you can see they score words in a lot of different ways, not just on the semantic. They have 3 different AIs for semantic, and they have 3 other AIs at least for, that also includes the knowledge graph AI, which scores words based on whether this is, in terms of the information hierarchy, in terms of the information architecture, that you're telling the words that have authority, that have trust, that show your have expertise and depth in the topic. So there's at least 7 or 8 AIs there that they're scoring words on for your on page and your on site. And if you're missing like 4 AIs, well then your pages are going to have a hard time ranking. So we test all these in Underground SEO University. We take that knowledge and we build it into a tool. If you don't want to learn, just get the tool. Again, as I said, you could try it free for 2 weeks in Keyword Spy. But you're like, okay, Josh, how would I just quick and dirty test if I wanted to see whether there's TW-BERT in a particular page? Okay, well, let me show you. So don't say I don't ever give you anything for free. Let me show you a quick and dirty way to also test it if you want to be quick and dirty. So what I have here is the playground. This is the playground for ChatGPT. And you might be like, I don't get it. What is this? This doesn't look like ChatGPT. This is the professional version, if you will. This is the playground that they've had for years now that I've been playing with ever since the first version of GPT came out, 3.0. ChatGPT is GPT 3.5 Turbo. Then there's also 3.5 Turbo 16K, which allows 16K tokens. This only allows 4K tokens. Now, what is that? Tokens are word pieces, and 4K is 4,000. So it's like 4,096 word pieces, which is about 3 or 4 characters, or 16,000 word pieces, which is, again, each word piece is about 3 or 4 characters long. And then GPT-4, which allows 8,000 tokens, if I recall correctly. GPT-4 costs more money than GPT 3.5 Turbo if you're going to put it in an API, which we will. So that's why I'm just using 3.5 Turbo. And plus, people only get access to GPT-4 if you have the plus version of ChatGPT. So this is the playground, and it gives you much more control. You can turn down the randomness, temperature, and lowering this means you get less random completions. Did you know that the temperature in the other version of ChatGPT that most people use is already at 75%? That's very random, and that's part of the reason why you get such random results. So I like to turn temperature right down. You could change the maximum length of tokens that you get back. And you can see here it also says that roughly 4 characters of standard English text is a token. So you could have 1 token for a word, 2 tokens for a word, that kind of a thing. Then we have frequency penalty, which is penalizes new tokens based on their existing frequency in the text thus far. And presence penalty is how much to penalize new tokens based on whether they appear in the text so far. So setting this lower decreases the model's likelihood of repeating the same line verbatim, and setting this lower increases the model's likelihood to talk about new topics. So I like to reduce those to 0 as well and reduce this to 0. So I'm getting exactly, without any randomness, I've reduced the stochastic measure of transformers, is what they call it. Stochastic. It's a great word. It's a great 5-cent word to throw into conversations. Stochastic means increasing randomness. So if it's stochastic, that means it's quantum. That means it has increased randomness, right? So that's stochastic. If you want to throw a 5-cent word in there into your next conversation, go ahead. And so I like to reduce the stochastic nature, the random nature, the quantum nature of these statistical models, of these transformers. Remember, GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's a transformer just like BERT is. BERT stands for Bidirectional Encoding Representations from Transformer, if I recall correctly. I think I got those initialisms right. And so it stands to reason that because GPT is a transformer, if you want a quick and dirty test to tell you what the highest weighted terms are, you could probably write a very clever prompt, and it'll probably give you the weighted terms, and it'll probably be pretty close. It won't be perfect, as I'm going to show you, but it'll probably be pretty close to the actual way that BERT does the weighting of the words in the query. So I'm going to show you how to use this prompt in the ChatGPT. Now you can use this prompt in the regular ChatGPT if you want. It's just going to have it's going to have temperature set to 75%, which is not great. I'm going to show you how to use 3.5 Turbo here to do it and how well it works with it in the playground. If you really want to be an AI master, I really recommend you play with the playground instead of the kind of general interface. I do believe you have to have a paid account to access this, but which I have had since the very private demo, even before the public demo of GPT came out. I've been building prompts in this for years. I've built megabytes and megabytes of prompts. But I'm going to show you how to do this in a second. But Greg, based on what I've talked about thus far, do you have any comments or I think the playground is really important to use as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, obviously we use it a ton to at least start with. Building the prompts, testing them out, being able to save them and convert it to code. So it's, where I live, I don't use the interface, the ChatGPT interface as much as I use this, honestly. Yeah, this is definitely, I think people should, play around with it. That's what it's there for, and it'll give you a little bit more flexibility as you demoed there. So yeah, if you're interested in prompting, this is the place to be. So
yeah, definitely. I think it gives you much more control. It really is kind of the pro version. And when you get used to the pro version, you really start to understand how the whole thing works a little bit better. So let's go back here to the the TW BERT page. Now, I love it when Google does this. It's very easy for me to test their AIs when they give me test queries. And they did it twice in this page. They did Nike running shoes, and they told us how the weighting should look. So we know that Nike should be weighted highest, then running, then shoes. And they also did another one in here, which is chicken soup. And they say here that the term waiting for BERT also will process the query intent and do something they call query expansion. And query expansion is really important because what they realize, and this is part of the thing, and we've seen this in the SERPs for sure, and I think when I say this, people who are listening are going to go, oh yes, right, of course, I've seen this. When you search for stuff like chicken soup, they know because of BERT. Now this is BERT knowing this. This is not because of user metrics. This is not because of user clicks. This is not because of any other AI. They know this because the transformer knows that whenever people talked about chicken soup in the corpus, they also mentioned recipe. That chicken soup was almost never talked about alone in the corpus. That recipe was also mentioned. So they know that chicken soup, people searching chicken soup, that the word recipe is going to be either added or just results for chicken soup are going to be removed. So remember, the scoring talks about more about how it removes things from the rankings, not adds things from the rankings, which is very interesting. So there's going to be a ranking loss based on whoever doesn't have these weighting, and the weightings is going to reach a threshold, and they're going to remove all the articles about just Nike or just about running shoes and only have ones that are about Nike running shoes, for example. Okay, so the question is, can we see the effect of this in GPT? Can we see the effect of this here in ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo? So I'm going to take their test queries and put them in here. First off, let's do Nike running shoes. So let's do Nike running shoes. So if this is going to work like we think it should weight them in the right order. So let me read you my prompt so you know exactly how I'm prompting it. And this is also a bit of a masterclass in how to prompt engineer. Let me read my prompt and point out why I wrote it this way. So the first thing I said, I will give you a query and you tell me what words have the highest weight in terms of what searchers likely want to see when making this search. So it knows that query and search are the same thing. And so I say query, and I give it a query. And then I tell it to do the same thing again to really make sure that it knows what it's doing. This is called few-shot prompting. I've given it 1 or 2. I've given it a few shots, a few goes, a few examples. Few-shot prompting means a few examples. Zero-shot prompting means no examples. This is few-shot prompting because I'm giving it an example of exactly how I want it to output. The shots are usually examples of how you want it to output, which is not the same as the instructions of what you want it to do. So I give it another second instruction of what I want it to do. I say, okay, list the words and phrases only from the above words in order of likely importance for scoring documents to rank for the above query. And I put in brackets, if you think there is a word or phrase missing that is absolutely essential to what the searcher is likely looking for, please add it in order of importance. So, and then I say word/phrases in order of importance, and I give it a 1. So it knows to list it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one way of doing it. I could have just said order of importance. I could have said 1, 2, 3, etc. I could have said that here as well. I could have done that there as well. So I have temperature set to 0, which is good. So it'll have no randomness, and it won't be moving words up and moving words down. So it won't be afraid of repeating itself, and it won't feel like it needs to use new words. I've got frequency penalty and presence penalty set to 0. Okay? And so I just want to point out, this really is the professional way of doing prompt engineering. You need to give it 2 different examples. The form and the content need to be intermingled. And if you want this done in English, this needs to be prompted in English. If you want this done in French, the whole thing needs to be done in French. Or if you want it in German, this whole thing needs to be done in German in order for it to respond as accurately and reliably as possible. And trust me, we know this from thousands and thousands of prompts testing it. You might be able to get it to work once or twice by just saying, if I said output in French, it might work once or twice, but if you're doing it 1,000 times, it's going to fail like 10% of those times, and you have 100 failures out of 1,000. So trust me when I say, you'll need to write the whole thing in the language that you want it to output in to make sure it outputs accurately and precisely, because accuracy and precision are very important, especially when you're trying to amalgamate what BERT is doing here with the weighted queries, trying to fake it here in GPT. Okay? Now in Keyword Spy, we have a bunch of different ways of doing this that are not the same, which we could show you afterwards, but this is a quick and dirty way to do it in ChatGPT. I would do it in 3 or 4 ways to make sure it's accurate, instead of just doing it kind of one way, is what I would do. Okay, so let's see, will it work? So drum roll, please. For Nike running shoes, remember, it should be Nike first, then running, then shoes, and running shoes should be a phrase that it picks all on its own. Let's see if it does it. Do you think it'll work? Boom. And boom, like perfection, like a miracle. It's like, yep, the most important word or phrase in order of importance for this query in terms of query intent, in terms of the importance that what the searcher is likely looking for, is Nike. If the documents don't have the word Nike in them and they specify, probably in the naming spots, join Underground SEO University to find out what the naming spots are, if you don't already know, or you can just Google it. It's a well-known SEO term. If you don't have Nike in the naming spots, then your document is not going to rank for Nike running shoes. And you might be surprised. You might be like, Josh, what SEO would not put Nike in the naming spots when trying to rank for Nike running shoes? You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. A lot of tools out there wouldn't necessarily tell you to do it, and a lot of SEOs out there might have an oversight or might not think to do it, or maybe they're just letting their content writer over in the third world there. No offense to people over there, I love you guys, but have some person who's a bit of an amateur over there charging a really low amount might forget to put it in there. So Nike not only has to be in there, it has to be prominently in there, right? And then the next thing they show you is running shoes, not running alone and not shoes alone. That's more the old way of thinking of it, where all the words are weighted equally, so it doesn't matter. It has to do with precision of term weighting in the different terms in the query, either the word or the phrase. And that's exactly what ChatGPT was able to give us here. So it worked perfectly. It worked like a charm. What do you think about that, Greg?
Yeah, I kind of knew it was going to work. I mean, I also tested our query intent finder, and it nailed it there too. So
yes,
we're ahead of this. I think the only thing, where people are probably asking, and I as well, is okay. So now I've got the important weights. Now where do I put these things? Where do I put these words on the page to have the greatest impact? What is Google valuing the highest? And that's like you said, there's something that can be found out if you join your group or use Keyword Spy. So
yes, Keyword Spy will guide you where to put them as well. In fact, that'd be a good demo to do later afterwards, to show you where you would put them in the page. What I mean by naming spots, where you put them in the page. But first, this is just one test though. So let's type a few more in there to see if it keeps getting it right and what other queries look like. So the next one was chicken soup. Now this one is different. Chicken soup is different. Chicken soup is supposed to add recipes on the end. So when they're searching chicken soup, the example was they're supposed to be looking for a recipe or recipes. Let's see if ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, not even 4, let's see if 3.5 Turbo is smart enough to put the right words at the end and what kind of examples it gives you. And drum roll, and voila, it does it. And it does it pretty darn well. Chicken soup is the most important phrase when they're looking for chicken soup. It's the EMQ, exact match query. But then they put recipe as the very second. So chicken soup recipe, which is exactly what they say here in the document. They're saying when you search chicken soup, you're supposed to get chicken soup recipe. And I'm sure you've noticed that in the SERPs, that it's a very important kind of query intent changing that they do. And luckily, we also get this in Keyword Spy as well. I'll show you that in a second. So boom, it seems to work. So the two test queries checked out perfectly. Chicken soup and then recipe. And then ChatGPT, this prompt I wrote here, also gives you a few other examples like homemade, easy, healthy, comforting, traditional, slow cooker, broth, ingredients. And that all makes sense. People searching chicken soup could be looking for a recipe. They could be looking for a homemade. They could be looking for an easy chicken soup recipe or a healthy chicken soup recipe or comforting or traditional or a slow cooker recipe or just a broth, or they're looking for the ingredients. They could be looking for those things too. And don't think just because Google only said recipe here in their example and then this writer for Search Engine Journal picked it up, don't think that that's the only terms that are getting weighted. There's other terms getting weighted here. So that's really important to keep in mind there as well. So I think these are pretty. I think this is pretty neat. When I do a few other queries, however, it breaks down a bit. Ballet for adults, for example. So I do ballet for adults. We know from previous testing that classes should be very important. But when I clicked submit, classes doesn't come up. They think ballet is the most important word to ballet for adults, and adults is, and then ballet for adults. It doesn't come up with classes on Turbo. But I can quickly test the difference between Turbo and GPT-4 by just changing that and submitting it again. And now it's ballet, and it has to be for adults, and then for. So GPT-4 is a little smarter in knowing that it has to have the word ballet and it has to have the word for adults in it. That's the important term, which is really interesting, but it doesn't add the word classes. So that's very interesting. Whereas Keyword Spy, we would add the word classes there as well, which our other testing shows, our deeper testing, reverse engineering, shows that classes has a much bigger term weight and has a much better score and give you a much better boost on your page. So this is the reason why you can't just go with ChatGPT. It's not always good for every scenario, but it could be quick and dirty. It could work well for you. Let's see. Also, photo booth rental. We know that there's another word, rentals, that does very well here. If I click submit, they're like, yeah, photo booth and then rental. So it has to have the words photo booth in it. It can't just be a photo rental. It can't just be a booth rental. It has to have photo booth in it and then rental. Those are the important words in order. That makes sense, but it didn't have rentals. We know that from our testing that rentals is even more important than rental. That people searching photo booth rental are looking for pages that offer photo booth rentals, typically. And so that's another interesting one that failed. So again, here's a quick and dirty prompt you can use, but again, if you really want to be a professional, if you really want to go with the high level stuff and be precise and accurate, vis-a-vis, if you're in a very difficult niche, you're going to need to use a much more professional tool to make sure that you're going to get the rankings that you want to have. So let's go into Keyword Spy and show you how we handle this query intent in Keyword Spy is what we'll do. So this is the backend when you log into Keyword Spy. We just recently had a contest, and Amos Struck was the winner, which is just something we check on a regular basis, the stats of who's ranking where in Keyword Spy and how well people are doing. And these are just some of our examples of wins. In fact, I can show you a bigger list of wins. So this guy went 4 to 2 spots for a high-end food blog niche, another from 4 to 2 for a food niche, 2 spots for a printing niche, 2 spots for a vehicle niche, 3 spots for e-commerce niche, a gaming niche, a non-English niche. So we do non-English niches as well. A boost of 5 spots from 14 to 9 for a gaming niche. In just 1 month, up 6 spots to number 3 for a non-English niche. 1 month up 6 spots, 1 month up 2 spots, 1 month a boost 4 spots from, a boost of 8 spots up to number 4 for an online education niche. So we're getting a lot of people who are going off of page 1 to page 1. Boost of 4 spots for a gaming niche, 13 spot boost for a coupon niche from off page 1 to page 1. A boost of 20 spots for an insurance niche from off page 1 to page 1. Which is fantastic. A boost of 15 spots for e-commerce niche. A boost all the way to number 2. Up 15 spots from off the SERP to number 2 just from using Keyword Spy. A boost of 25 plus spots for a cybersecurity niche. A boost of 23 spots for an escort niche. That one still has a lot further to go. It's still quite deep in the SERP there. And it's interesting that, we can do adult niches, but they can be very tough to rank in, quite frankly. It's not really about the on-page. It's more about the links and recommendations there, quite frankly. A boost of 35 spots in the health niche. And finally, a boost of 76 spots was the biggest boost from 100 to 24, I believe, in an e-commerce niche. And that was Amos's win there. So congratulations, Amos. I just want to quickly show you those wins there. Anyhow, so how do we handle the TW-BERT term weighting in Keyword Spy? Well, we test for it. So first off, you can get a sense in the BERT tab here of the different kinds of entities that are important, the different kind of phrases that are important. So apply for installment loans in Canada, get information on installment loans available in Canada. If I just do installment loans Canada here, what do we get? If I just do installment loans Canada, we get installment loans and Canada. Yep. So again, yes, those are the most important words, but shouldn't something be added here? We have the additions here for loan interest rates, loan terms and conditions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we also show you the top 20 competitors' BERT phrases, installment loans in Canada, loans for bad credit, installment loans Canada, installment loans in, installment loans. So you can see the huge precipitous drop-off between the usage of 160 to 55. That really shows you that installment loans really is the most important query there. That the term weighting there is really important. This shows you the term weighting here. Installment loans Canada is not that much higher than this. Installment loans in Canada is much higher than bad credit. So it really is, it's installment loans in Canada really is the more important ones, even though we give you a bunch of other ideas. The other thing you can do here is you could do, well, this really is the query intent here. So apply for installment loans in Canada and get information on installment loans available in Canada. is really where we make sure we have the term weighting, and we're finding what the actual query intent is there for your article. Let me show you a different one here. Let me show you a different one here. Maybe this one would be better. So for this one, which was outdoor wall lighting, we have explored the different types of outdoor wall lighting fixtures. Here, that's the important thing, the fixtures, I think. Or shop for outdoor wall lights. Outdoor wall and wall lights is really high. Outdoor wall lights is really high. And outdoor lighting, outdoor wall lights is really high. And if I do outdoor wall lighting on this one, what do we get? Yeah, we get wall lighting. So outdoor wall lighting, outdoor wall lighting, outdoor lighting. So it's giving us the outdoor lighting and the wall lighting, and it broke those two ideas, those two entities down separately and rated them, which is not too bad, not too bad. But you'll get a much more comprehensive list and a much better list with wall sconces. But really the lighting fixtures is an important word here, and shopping for the outdoor wall lights is an important word here in terms of what could be done in BERT analysis when we rebuild the model for you, or what your competitors are using here in terms of their phrases. You can stick with them if you want. You have your choice. The reporting in Keyword Spy is second to none. You really don't need to use it if you don't want to. You could just go right to the editor and build the article. But the reporting in Keyword Spy is second to none. So to answer the question, where would you use these important terms? Well, first off, it's not just, although today I was focusing on TW BERT, that's not the only AI that you need to worry about, of course. There are multiple AIs you need to worry about. There's RankBrain, there's BERT, two different versions of BERT, these BERT normal and BERT TW. There's neural matching, which is a huge one that most people don't even know about. There's knowledge graph, there's DOM vector. You can see all your competitor information here. For people who are part of Underground SEO University, you also get test pages section here as well. That's only for Underground SEO University students as well. So you can do all your own testing as well. We are a scientific-based group. And then finally, you get the results. You get all of this aggregated in the results. And the important thing here, the reason why I'm showing you this, is because we have a proprietary scoring system that scores it based on the term weighting that you saw here. And it also, we score the phrases based on the term rating. But also, every other AI that exists gets a score, and we all add it up in the end. So the word lights does really well in all the testing, whereas, say, the word lantern only did partially well in the BERT testing. It did pretty good in the amalgamated neuromatching RankBrain testing, but it did not so great in the third neuromatching testing. And this one favors neuromatching. This one favors RankBrain, is what this one does, those tests. But it's hard to isolate both of them, but we try to. So then you see that it has a lesser score, and so you'll know whether you should be using these words, because you don't just have to please one AI when it comes to doing your ranking. You have to please all of these AIs, because all of these different AIs are going to be used. Like, it's not just BERT here. It's BERT and RankBrain and neural matching and knowledge graph and helpful content and review content are all giving different scoring weights to the different terms. And that's all being scored in the function, whatever BM25 is, the 25th bowel movement that Google made, so I'm not sure. And then your document gets a score based on all of those AIs, not just one of them. So that's why you need to test for all these different AIs. So you can do that by hand if you want, and we give you all the files here to do it. If you want to take hours and hours to test it by hand, or Keyword Spy does it for you in about an hour, which would take like 10 hours to do all this testing. And so anyway, the important thing is that you need to please all of them. So we use a aggregate scoring system, just like Google does. Google does an aggregate scoring system here with all the different AIs and scoring them and then giving you the rankings. We do that. We rank your words as well, closer to how Google would rank them. And so that's how you get this aggregate score. And so anyway, the question is, where would you use these terms after not just we test them for one AI, but for all the AIs, all the on-page AIs? Where would you use these terms? Okay, well, let me show you. This is where you would use these terms. So let's see if I have a document here. I don't even know if I have a document for this particular one. So you learn this much better if you join Underground SEO University, but the quick and dirty version is this. So all of your keywords here are listed. You check the work. Oops, I don't want words here. and I want to sort by score. And it shows you how many times you're using the EMQ, that phrase, and how many times you're using all these different words which are weighted, that have the highest weight. And it'll give you a red thing when you're missing some, so you know that you want to add those ones probably somewhere in there, assuming they make sense. HTML doesn't make any sense at all. It only has a score of 1 because somebody said it somewhere in the document, but that's fine. So you want to make sure you're watching for these red. You want to get the spread. Watch the red to get the spread, but you also want depth, but I'll talk about that in a second. All those scored words, which would include the TW BERT scored words, you want to use them in the important spots. So the SEO spots here obviously are the URL, the title, the description. There's very specific amounts you want to be using that Keyword Spy will follow if you get Keyword Spy to do it for you. So I could say generate the URL, it'll make it for me. I could say generate the title, it'll do it for me. Installment loans Canada, get financial freedom with installment loans for Canadians. Perfect. That's the perfect query intent. I can generate the meta description, and I can also tell it what kind of angle I want. Installment loans Canada, I think, is in the middle of the sales funnel. So I will say continue, and boom, you get your meta description. So get approved for flexible installment loans Canada with ease, improve your credit score while enjoying the convenience of online applications, secure your loan today, and experience financial freedom. And these have all the different keywords in them, including the different keywords that meta description uses, which is not the normal keywords. The other place you'll be using these terms is in the headers. And you need to check your competition to see if it's safe to use what headers. It's safe to use one H1 based on the competition. It usually has about 4 words, and it never has exact match in it. So that makes sure, that tells you not to use exact match. It's 22% exact match. It needs to be 1 or higher, but it uses at least 2 partial match words. So that's we know we can use an H1. You can use 6 H2s. You can use 10 H3s. You can use 4 H4s. You can use 5 H1s. They do a big long article. It tells you if you can use the exact match in them. The answer is no. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's safe to use exact match in any of your headings. So there is a thing called over optimization. You've got to be careful there. But it tells you more or less how many partial match words you can put in there. So that is a good reminder. So I'll go back here and remind myself, okay, this should be an H1, so I'll just change it to an H1. Understanding installment loans. And installment loans Canada is the EMQ, so installment loans is perfect. That's exactly 2 partial match words or in the query, installment and loan, so that's great. And the other place you need to use all of your keywords is in the whole document, in the whole thing, right? Is where you need to use them. And this is where our content score comes in. Our Google Semantic Score is our own proprietary scoring system that uses your own AI models that we've built for you in the reports. That's why it takes so long, because we're building models for you to get you the absolute most precise actual scoring that Google is actually doing here based on the actual AIs they're doing. So it's really important not just to choose an off-the-shelf keyword tool, because they are not building models for you. They are not at all building models for you. They're just faking it. They're just using some off-the-shelf NLP, which is one kind of AI, which is not any of the AIs Google is using. Google's not using NLP at all. At all. It's not reported by them to being used, and in our testing, we haven't found it to be used at all. Google tells you which ones it uses. I have it somewhere here. Here it is. Here's the actual AIs Google is using. They've published it. They're so confident you will not be able to reverse engineer what they're doing because it's so complicated unless you have AI working for you like Keyword Spy, that they've gone so far as to publish it. They're using BERT. They're using something called crisis information systems. They usually do duplication, exact match domain system, freshness, helpful content. Is a ranking system. It is a ranking system. It's not just a recommendation. There's an actual AI doing a ranking for this. Link analysis and PageRank. Okay, obviously, we knew that for the last 23 years. News. They're also using MUM, which is a multitask unified model, which can read podcasts and videos and other kind of files and transfer it to text and vice versa. They're using neural matching. This is a ranking system that scores pages here and gives it a score. Did you know that? Does anybody in any other tool say this? No. They use original content systems, removal-based demotion systems, Passage ranking system is an actual ranking system. RankBrain is an actual ranking system. Reliable information systems that gives a score. Gives a score here. So you need to know what the RankBrain keywords are, and they're different than the neural magic keywords, which are different than the BERT keywords, for example. They each get a chance to score a document. Review systems, site diversity system, spam detection systems. And these ones are now retired. Panda and Penguin are now retired. And Hummingbird is retired too, because that used to be the way in which they retrieve documents. They don't retrieve documents that way anymore. They're now retrieving documents this way. This is how they're retrieving documents now, and that's not Hummingbird. So we know this. We've been testing this. So if you're not testing for all these things, RankBrain, reliable information systems, which helps surface more authoritative pages and demote low-quality content. This is the knowledge graph system that we test for, I believe, is what I think it is. RankBrain. Passage ranking is also BERT, I believe, because it has a lower token count. It allows far less tokens than, say, GPT does in terms of token count. Neural matching and BERT. If you're not testing for all those things, like keyword spy is, for example, you're not going to rank very well. Okay, so finally, where would you put these keywords? You also need to put them in the whole document, and we have the content score that does this. So this big red 85 here is telling you you need to really decrease the keywords. This is way over optimized. The average for your competitors is 57. That means you need to be at 46 to 56. And we know this for a fact. Okay? We know this for a fact because we have stats in the back end of Keyword Spy, and we see where everyone's ranking. And we automatically shift this number based on the thresholds that Google gives us. So here's another reason why either being in undergrad at university, which I go into much more detail explaining these automatic systems, and or using Keyword Spy is a really good idea. Because when Google starts penalizing content even more harshly, this automatically adjusts because we automatically see the ranking changes, and so we know how to change your content score. So you're never over-optimized. All the other systems are just making a guess. They're just guessing. They're not actually going in a responsive system manner. So this document is way over-optimized. So the question is, how would I under-optimize it? How would I get the numbers down? Also, we know that these numbers here, in terms of AI-generated content, are way too high. The average predictability length is 5.32 tokens. That's 1.12 tokens, 1.22 tokens too high, and the predictability is 79% over the competitors. That is 8% too high. It needs to go down a whole 8% in terms of AI predictability. So how would you get these numbers down? Luckily, we have the improve button. You highlight a passage of text, and you just press the improve button. Gone are the days when an SEO actually needed to write anything. AI is doing it all for you. So you just press the improve button, presto changeo. Our AI looks through it and will change it for you, and it'll start reducing those numbers. So we say replace and close. Then I will improve this paragraph. While it's doing that, I just want to point out we haven't done a heat score on this. Heat stands for helpfulness, experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Oops. And we give you an actual score on this, which is going to be a very important ranking score moving forward in the future. When Google finally has an AGI to do rankings, the heat score is going to be so important for the future. So let me just finish improving this document. So what it's doing, it's rewriting all of this, making sense of the sentences, making it better writing than kind of your standard kind of SEO drivel. And it will end up using less keywords, be less repetitive, which is what you want. So I've changed 3 paragraphs, the 4th paragraph. And you have to change a fair amount to see a big difference. So I'm going to change a whole bunch. So then I will replace, close. Okay, so now that I've replaced a whole bunch of paragraphs, let me redo the content score. And this score should go down quite a bit. Because it improves the writing, it's less repetitive, it's less SEO writing, it's more salesy writing. So it's not going to be as keyword laden. It should reduce the content score. Also, you'll notice it's going to reduce the predictability scores as well, which is what you want. You need to get this number. It's very important to get this number and this number into the variances that we use from the back end by checking to see who's ranking well and how well they're ranking. And we start using a vectorization system to determine, therefore, where your numbers ought to be. So that is very important to make sure that you're within those numbers there. HEAT, as I said, stands for helpfulness, experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And that's what the score builds there. Oh, yeah, there we go. Boom.
Yeah,
okay.
It just needs times.
So now I've gone a little too far. Now I've gone under where I want to be. Now I'm under optimized. It's even worse to be under optimized, we found in the rankings, than it is to being over optimized. Although you don't want to be too over optimized. If you're just like if you're like 10 over this number, then it's okay. You get on average a rank boost of 3. If you're 1 to 10 under this number, which is why this is the range you want to be in, you get an average ranking boost of 12 points. So that you
can improve that pretty quickly by using Optimize, which I'm sure you're going to demo.
Yeah, I definitely can. So I think I rewrote this. Looks like I rewrote this. So if I click Optimize, this one is still broken. So if I clicked Optimize is like the opposite of improve. It's going to SEO it up. It's going to increase the average predictabilities, but it's also going to increase the content score as well. So you just want to massage these numbers until they're in the right spot. We're building an article co-pilot that is going to be able to do that for you automatically. This is just our testing server. But when we roll this stuff out to the app, it'll work perfectly fine. The improve button and the optimize button already work perfectly fine. And the generate article does most of that for you automatically. But anyway, that's the answer to the question where you would use these keywords. You would use them, of course, in the right headers. You would use them in the SEO spots of URL, title, and description. And it's not just about only getting the scoring from one AI correct. It's about getting the scoring from all the AIs correctly. So the reports are here in Keyword Spy. The reports are rock solid and have been for months. You could even just get the results, and you could handwrite it if you want. Lots of people handwrite this stuff as well. This is an old document. Okay. Was there anything else, Greg, that you wanted to demo or talk about? Or I think that covers it.
Maybe the query intent you already showed in the BERT results. So I was just going to point out how, for chicken soup, how it the first response it gives you definitely, people looking for chicken soup recipes. So it gets it. Usually, I don't know, 99% of the time, it does an extremely good job. So
yeah, it's in the report. It's also in AI Spy. For those folks who only have AI Spy, which you can get separately, there is the query intent finder. You can put it in there. You can add the winning words to weight it towards the other AIs as well. Choose a language that you want to do it in and submit. And you see immediately it gets the other query intents that you might want to get there as well. So you can also get a much better job than just this query here in Keyword Spy as well. This prompt here, rather, in Keyword Spy as well. Oh, in AI Spy, if you're just an AI Spy customer, we would recommend having the keyword discovery as well, because it's going to find you the low-hanging fruit in different areas. And it has an AI co-pilot, which is going to do the competitive research for you on this. And we also recommend you getting the reports as well, because that's actually going to give you all of the different testing that's been done. Not just one, like the query intent finder or topical clusters or the featured snippets, which is here. It's going to get you all the different AIs that I showed you that Google is using to rank pages. BERT, all the different ones, neural matching, RankBrain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let me check quick to see if there's any questions, any final questions before we sign off here, guys. Stephen has a question. He says, hey, guys, built a site from scratch using the tool. What kind of results? Have you built a site from scratch using the tool, and what kind of results do you have? Well, I'm so glad that you asked, Stephen. As a matter of fact, yes, we have. Greg, take it away. Greg's the one who did it. Take it away.
I was going to comment on, I can do both. I'm using a topical cluster and spinning out straight up AI articles, really very, very little editing. just trying to just hit the numbers like Josh demoed. And right now the article doesn't format very nicely to WordPress, but that's going to be coming down the pipeline. So that's the only like manual work I'm doing. And I am seeing crazy boosts. I'm going to show the site that's been existing and has like a pretty good, domain authority, for better lack of explanation at this point. So it's not a brand new site, but I did want to show it. These guys, I don't know, we did them on August 8th, so that's why they're not ranking yet. But look at August 4th. These are topical cluster spray and pray generated sites, AI article, about 1,500, 1,600, 1,200 words, already ranking 1 and 2. I was like shocked to see this, but that was the strategy, was, go after these, very, how many queries they get a month, searches they get a month. I don't even know. I don't even care. But the idea was to build these topical pages and then link them to the main page that I'm trying to rank. Mm-hmm. But these guys are already ranking, so I may get some traffic out of it, and Google will like that. So I was just impressed that they, went to the first page, spot 1. Some of them haven't started yet.
Yeah, spot 1 and 2 without any effort. And that wasn't even the full testing. That was just our spray and pray testing.
Just spray and pray. So there's a bunch here. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. So this was an existing site. I kind of knew it would have some good results. Maybe they would pop on page whatever, 30 or spot 30 or 40, based on what I was told in keyword discovery. And the difficulty, usually, it says you can get into, page 2 or 3 pretty easily for these type of keywords. So, but I was shocked to see it, bump up to, the first, second spot like you're seeing here. Another thing that I'm doing is brand new sites, which would be all my airport sites, like this one.
Oh, there's a nice lift there.
Yeah, it's all AI generated content, no linking, nothing. I just literally publish these things. I do some, places where you can actually get, Google to crawl a page, and then your site's on there with a link, but it's not link building per se. It's just sort of like directories, if you will, safe places, just to get sort of out there, and literally don't do any editing, so very basic. So you can check out this like Airport LaGuardia. That's DFW Airports. He's been steady. And this one's been really good for me. It's doing almost like 300 clicks a day. But these were all just, sites from scratch. This guy hasn't taken. He's only indexed 7 pages, so I think once the pages start getting indexed, I've seen the rankings continue to increase. So I have to do a better job with some of the other non-on-page signals, whether it be just direct traffic or maybe some reference rank in there, or maybe even some links. So those type of things I'm not even really focusing on, but I think to bump these to the next level.
Yeah, I think what's going on there is it's too small a site. You need more pages. You need your topical clusters, or you need more money pages, one or the other. So you need to go into Keyword Spy. You need to do the search for low-hanging fruit pages, or you need to go in topical clusters and build out your topical clusters.
Yeah, that's a good point. Newark, EWR, airport.com. I don't know how many pages they're indexing. So yeah, still only 13. These sites are basically templatized. I don't even know if that's a word, but I have
it is now.
It is now. We invent stuff here at Keyword Spy.
we do.
We basically just follow a template, the pages. I'm not doing any research. It's like every airport has, lounges or smoking areas or places to change your baby. Like,
yeah.
It's just a set template that I use. and just go to town with that. But I agree that that's probably what I need to do. And but I still think there's some other off-page things that I probably can do to help just improve the signals.
And if we go into Keyword Spy and build out a topical cluster, what would it look like?
So if we build out a topical cluster for Newark Airport.
Well, it doesn't look like you've done a report for it.
No, not Newark Airport. Like I said, I have the pages already set in stone of what I'm going to do. So I just have my people just generate the like Newark Airport lounges would be an EMQ, for instance.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of this for any of these airport pages. I create the content and I do, title tag, meta description, H1, not even, URL I think I started doing. I didn't do it before. So I use Keyword Spy to actually build the content of the page, but I don't do any of this initial research. So, it builds out the topical cluster hierarchy here on the left. And see, as you can see, and I mentioned it before, I do all these pages, baggage claim, shops, duty-free, restaurants. So I have a lot of them in there, just knowing airports, but some I don't. Like I don't have travel agencies or luggage carts. I could add these things, and it probably would complete the site out way better. But I do like taxis, shuttles, buses. I do terminals. I do the airlines. So just knowing this niche, I knew most of this, but this has given me a couple ideas here. I don't do ATMs. That's a good one. Car rental, I do. Pet relief areas, I think we do. Nursing rooms, I mentioned. Medical services, I don't think I do. Luggage carts, I said I didn't. So, yeah, just here, this like literally can build out a site for you. How many EMQs are there? I don't know, like 30 or 40. We just select them and then either run the report or run the report and get the articles. And like I said, it's some basic editing because the AI article on the editor just doesn't come out beautifully, structured. Add in some images and do your thing on whatever content management system you're using. And it freaking works. I don't know. It's crazy that it's, just so quickly. Google must be responding to the keywords, the content on the page, because there's really no other signals that is helping it.
Yeah.
So it must really like the content that our AI is pumping out. So,
Yeah. Well, it's all about having the right signals, right? It's all about having the right signals for the right AIs. And it's not just one on-page AI. There's like at least 7 of them, at least, that we know about. Okay, so, and finally, a special offer. So, as you can see, we're still building out Keyword Spy. There's occasional little rough edges here or there. But it is the absolute best SEO plus AI tool that's out there. So, I didn't okay this with Greg ahead of time. I think we did talk about it previously. But for a limited time, we're going to bring back the grandfather pricing. For a short amount of time, we're going to bring back the grandfather pricing, which is $144. Regular pricing is $244 a month. The grandfather pricing is $144 a month. As you can see, we're building out the tool where pretty soon when you build the topical clusters, it's going to make the linking hierarchy for you too and link up your silos properly, your clusters properly, however you want to talk about them. We just did a lot of testing in Underground SEO University to find out what the proper linking is. Did you know that it makes a huge difference, actually? The proper linking, it makes all the difference. Either it's a waste and those pages are hurting your ranking, or it's a huge boost and those pages are helping your ranking, but you got to link them up right. We're going to do that for you automatically in Keyword Spy in the future. When we do, the price is going to go up from $244. In the future, we're building an article copilot that's going to do all the stuff. It's going to do all the structuring of the HTML. It's going to check for recent content. It's going to make sure that it's the perfect article written right out of the box. And the price will go up afterwards from $244 a month from there. So if you're possibly interested in thinking that this is the tool for you to sign on to, I'm just saying, for a limited time, there'll be for a very short time, the grandfather pricing is back. Get on at $144 a month, and we'll grandfather you in. It'll be $144 a month for you in perpetuity. Again, you could try Keyword Spy for free at trykeywordspy.com. No credit card needed. Right now, you just need to put in your email and a password. And in the future, there'll be a Google login there too. You just use your Google login, just do that, and you can get right into the system. And you get at least 2 free articles for those 2 weeks, depending on the tokens that are being used and whatnot, of the free tokens. All right. So anyway, that's enough sales pitches from us. If you're interested, I'd get in that grandfather pricing if I was you. As you can see, there's tons of AIs you need to worry about. There's tons of AIs you need to make sure you've got the scoring correctly for. Some of which you've never heard of before. And we're actually building models for all those AIs after testing, reverse engineering, how those AIs work, and getting you the actual right scoring, as you saw in that TW BERT, the term weighting for what terms are in there, that unlike how any other tool does it, it really is revolutionary. So get AI on your side. Get AI on your side. You can build, you saw the wins. You saw all of our wins. You saw how people are getting 76 spot boosts, 35 spot boosts, 25 spot boosts. People are getting off page 1 to page 1, and how we're even boosting new sites as well. So it works out of the box. You don't even have to do the full testing if you don't want to, although I recommend you should. If Greg had done the full testing and had done the topical clusters and done all that, a lot of those rankings would have been a lot better. So I suggest you go for the grandfather pricing if you're at all interested. It would be a good idea for you to do. Or at least try it for free. What are you going to lose? You're not going to lose anything trying it for free. Try it for free for 2 weeks and see how well it works. See if it works for you in your niche. I guarantee you're going to see some boost from it if you do it correctly.
Email Josh or the hello@trykeywordspy because we'll have to send you a specific link to get that. So that's the only thing I would add in there. And the other thing I would add in is I think the other tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs, I think people gravitate towards because they are great tools in how they work and their the features that they have. But it's so just based on looking at your competitors. And that's why I think people probably spend hours looking at all this data when you can just use Keyword Spy. And if it does, if we recommend looking at competitor data, we do it. But you really shouldn't. I don't know why people spend so much time fixated on their competitors. I got to do this because they're on the first page of Google and try to mimic what they're doing. No, do what our tool tells you and it will work because I'm doing it and I'm not an SEO. I mean, I've said this since day one. I'm here to learn and I have been learning a lot. So I'm more of an SEO today than I was a year ago, but this is just my honest opinion about tackling SEO. So that's all I got, Josh.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think the reason why all these other tools and people are looking at competitors, because they really don't know what to do, right? They don't really know what to do. But we've reverse engineered, we've tested. We've proven through testing how these AIs work using the actual test queries like I showed you. But more in depth than the GPT thing I did. That was just a quick and dirty thing. We've got far more testing, in-depth testing of exactly how it works. And we know how the scoring is working. Not 100%. No one knows 100%, but to a very high degree. To the degree that we can boast all those wins that we showed you. Because when you look at what your competitors are doing, not only are you accidentally getting some of the good things they did, maybe, if you pick the right things, but you're also getting the bad things they did as well. How are you ever going to get ahead of your competitors if you're just as good as them? If you're choosing what they're using and you're getting this same scoring they're getting, you can never get ahead of them. Then SEO is going to be so much more expensive. You've got to buy more links than they have. And that just gets too expensive to do it at scale, quite frankly. The only way to get an advantage over them is to actually do what the real AIs are actually looking for, whether your competitors have done it or not. Hopefully they haven't. Hopefully your competitors have pooped the bed on this. And they're missing this AI and that AI and this AI and that AI. And they're leaving so many ranking points on the table that our tool will find for you and build a model and show you, and you uses them automatically. You don't even have to worry about what they are. You don't need to worry about the reports. You don't even need to look at the reports. Just go on the editor and it all does it for you pretty much magically. Although if you're a nerd like me, you can look at the reports and see, okay, I see this, I see that, blah, 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 blah. So we have it all in there. I wouldn't have built this tool and I would have attached my name to it if it wasn't great, right? And now we have even more proof showing how great it is. I recommend trying the grandfather price. And this is more of a commentary just on SEO and how AI works, right? You know, the way we structure our business is that you actually rank and we make money. And if you don't rank, we don't make money. So that's the way our businesses are structured. So rank and make some money. All right, folks, let me just quickly check to see if there's any remaining questions there. Ryan asks, how much money have you made for your client portfolio as a collective? And what brands have you worked with? Over the 25 years I've been doing SEO, millions and millions of dollars. So I don't have that number just kicking around, and it's typically a fairly private thing that people generally wouldn't tell you. But for over the 25 years I've been doing SEO, I've made clients tens of millions of dollars. I've managed $10 million a month SEO portfolios for years. So maybe hundreds of millions of dollars I've made them over the 25 years. So I'm not really sure what you're asking there. And what brands have you worked with? Pretty big brands, like nothing Fortune 500, but pretty big brands, sadly in porn, pretty big brands. Sites that you've heard of, I've worked on in porn. I've worked a lot with the Cell Health affiliate network, which is a huge affiliate network. I was the SEO lead for Real Estate Webmasters, which did a huge amount of SEO, really big SEO. He's been on Dragon's Den in Canada, the guy who owns that company. So I've done some pretty high profile SEO, but I focus more on surgical SEO, where I don't care about the indexation really. I don't care about the tech stuff too much because it's not really that important. I don't care about the sitemaps because it's not really that important. You should be linking it properly anyway, and you wouldn't need sitemaps. I'm not about the $10,000 a month retainer or the $30,000 a month retainer, because then you work for that person, right? I don't like doing that kind of SEO. I don't like having a boss. I'd rather have $1,000 customers, or I'd rather have, $25,000 a month customers is what I'd rather have. But right now I'm focusing more on SEO education and building this tool out, quite frankly. I still have some clients, but that might not be the right question to ask. The question to ask is, Josh, can you prove your wins? Josh, can you show me all your wins? Josh, can you show me that your knowledge can produce wins? And the answer is yes. Go to bit.ly/SEO proof. bit.ly/SEO proof. It's partly what I showed you already here. It's this folder where I showed you win after win after win after win, going back months upon months upon months upon months of my knowledge and my students' wins and my clients' wins, getting win upon win. And it's accurate for every month. I'm just whipping through it. It's accurate for every month for the last 6 years. We have wins every single month for the last 6 years. We're showing wins. Even on months where people are getting drops and everyone in the industry is hit, we're getting wins. That's what you should be looking at. This is the proof you should be looking at. And any SEO who can't just give you their folder of wins right off the bat, don't trust them. Or any SEO who gives you 5 curated wins from like 2 years ago, don't trust them, right? Anytime I get a win, I throw it in that folder. Anytime my students get a win from my knowledge, I throw it in a folder. So, and a lot of those were keyword spy wins as well. Some are not, but a lot of those were keyword spy wins as well. That's the question I would ask to try to find out if an SEO knows what they're talking about. Not all SEOs like working for big Fortune 500 companies. It becomes a full-time job, and you're on the phone with them all the time. Some of us don't like that. Some of us like working for ourselves. So that might not be the best question to ask, if I'm being honest, to see if that guy's a good SEO. But I have worked for some very large brands. I've been doing this for more black hat oriented. So I'm more black hat oriented as well. And those big companies tend to be more white hat oriented, just because that's just the way the dogma went, and they're afraid to do black hat things. Whereas I've skewed more black hat, although I wouldn't call myself black hat. I'm really just whatever works hat. All my suggestions usually are pretty white hat in terms of risk mitigation. So that's another reason why you wouldn't want to ask what big, huge companies have you worked for, because I turn those jobs down. And they don't normally gravitate towards me anyway. Because again, I've skewed black hat, and 2, I don't want a boss. There's a reason why I'm not the SEO team lead for that anymore or this anymore, because I don't want a boss. I want to work for myself more. So I hope that helps you in understanding how to value SEO, and at the very least, I hope it helps you understand what to ask questions for other SEOs in the future. Ask for their folder of wins. Say Josh Bashinsky has a folder of wins showing his wins for every month, every single month, for the last 6 years. Where's yours? Challenge them for that. I guarantee you nobody else has that. I guarantee you nobody else has that. No one else can show wins every single month for the last 6 years. Nobody else in the world has that. I guarantee you. And there was another question here. I think it came in. Steven says, would you say you go deep on some of those SEO clients? Yes, I do. I do surgical audits. They're not technical audits. I do surgical audits, and doing an audit is really important. I've shown on the channel here how to do deep surgical audits in the past. It's very important to get a good idea of what's going on. We also have a standard formula and process that we follow in Underground SEO University that you don't need to do an audit, just follow the process and you're going to rank. And it's the process that we use to build Keyword Spy. Now, Keyword Spy only does your on-page so far. It doesn't do a lot of the off-page that needs to be done yet, but we'll be building that in too. So not after long, Keyword Spy is going to be a $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month app, because it's going to do all the SEO for you, or like 90% of all SEO for you it's going to do. And there's a lot more SEO to do than just on-page, and there's a lot more SEO to do than just on-page and links. So again, not to be a squeaky wheel that's selling his tool. Ooh, evil Josh needs to eat and sell his tool that he spent tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars building. Ooh, evil Josh needs to, how dare he try to eat? How dare he? But I suggest maybe thinking about the grandfather pricing. Just a suggestion. Yes, you'll have to live with a bug or two here or there, but that's the reciprocity. You tell us what bugs are happening, we fix them, and you get to enjoy a tool that's going to make you so much money for very, very little money in the future. That's the agreement. That's the handshake agreement right there. If you guys have any follow-up questions there. Dre Sean asks, what are your thoughts on people like Michael King and Kevin Aindig? So Michael King is good. I've seen some of the posts he's put out. He seems to be more programming oriented. If I'm thinking about the same guy, Mike King, I think I'm thinking about the same guy. But in terms of hardcore black hat SEO or hardcore SEO that works, I don't know. I can't comment on that. I've just seen some of the programming stuff he's done. And Kevin Ingdig, I recognize the name, but I don't really know off the top of my head how good they are. I would challenge them for their wins. Challenge them for their wins. Say, show me your current wins for every month for the last 6 years or whatever they got. Ask them for that. That's what I would ask any SEO. And if they're like, no, or if they can't do it, they should wholeheartedly be like, sure, here it is. Boom. I have a bit.ly link for crying out loud. bit.ly/SEO proof. It's so good. In fact, a few years ago, Greg, I don't know if you know this, a few years ago, my enemies submitted bit.ly to bit.ly that it was a spam link, and bit.ly is stupid and they don't know. They just put it in their spam folder, and the bit.ly link didn't work anymore. That's how good it is. Can you believe somebody did that? They submitted it to, I shouldn't be saying this because now people are going to be listening and they're going to do it again, but fine, I'll give you the Dropbox link if the bit.ly doesn't work. The bit.ly just makes it easier. Or I'll use a different shortener for crying out loud. But bit.ly/SEO proof, it used to be a spam link. If it still is, let me know. I thought I fixed it. I believe I fixed it. But yeah, that's how good it is. And that's how good I am. And that's how much I piss people off by telling the truth. So, but that's why you should use me and use us, because we are people who are actually looking at the stats in the back end of Keyword Spy, and we're tailoring we're watching the wins that we're getting, and we are getting these wins. I showed them to you. Those are honest to God wins. And we're tailoring the system to know what proper numbers you're supposed to use based on those wins, and some of the losses as well. Wow, the losses skew to these numbers? Don't do that. The wins skew to these numbers? Do that. And we'll help everybody else out by doing that. No other tool that I know of does this. No single other tool that I know of does this. And so we've got the testing data. We've got robust, hundreds of sites testing data to show what it is you should be doing. I earn these nerd glasses. We have the robust testing there to do it. Again, try Keyword Spy for free for 2 weeks. Get that grandfather pricing. Make sure you email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. That's JOSH, B as in Bob, ACH, Y as in YouTube, N as in Nancy, SKI@gmail.com.
And one other note, if people want the full version of Keyword Spy at no cost, and in fact, they can make money, we do have an affiliate program, and it's pretty pretty good, actually. I've done affiliate marketing for a long time, and I know people with SaaS tools, they like the MRR, they like to have that reoccurring revenue. But we're looking at this a little differently because we're new, and we feel like, you can take a bet on us, or we can just pay you up front. Because you don't know what our churn rate is yet. I mean, we're not there yet. Maybe in a year or two, but for now, we're going to pay you $244. That's $244 USD for any sign up that stays on for at least 2 months. So the second they renew on that second month, you will get a PayPal for $244.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's pretty darn good, I think. And
wow, that's huge. 244 US for a commission.
Yes.
In terms of affiliate commissions, that's enormous. I'm surprised he said that. Well, apparently, no, we talked about it before. I'm still surprised though when I hear it. It's like, wow, that is a big, juicy commission. So yeah, there we go.
The reason behind that is because I know our churn rate, and I'm confident in our tool so much that I can do that. But I know people who are just starting off with us don't have that confidence. We have to earn that trust, which we will. But it's really, hey, shut up or pay up. We're going to pay. So our money is on our tool. We're betting on it. And so, we want to offer that up to anybody. If you have, whether you're doing it as an affiliate marketer or it's just like a friends and family, hey, you're in a smaller group of SEOs, maybe on Facebook or Discord or Telegram or whatever, WhatsApp. You have a network of people, just share it. And I guarantee they're going to be very, very happy that they learned about it from you and pat you on the back constantly. And then you'll be $244 richer times how many more you can, achieve.
That's for the full price. And if they get on the grandfathered price, it'll be $144.
I don't know. I didn't really think about that because I didn't, think about the grandfather price. You brought that up and I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. But no, I think, so grandfather pricing is a, one-shot deal. It's not part of an affiliate structure. So if you're an affiliate and you bring us somebody, they're not able to use a coupon or use grandfather pricing. They have to pay the full fare. At this point. So, maybe in the future we may change that and say, hey, we'll bring someone on the grandfather pricing and we pay you $144. That's something we possibly could look at, but as it's structured right now, it's just, full fare, $244. And it's still a value. I'm telling you, I've looked at tools. I research this stuff constantly, and I've been, the non-SEO person, and I've tried everything, and this is the best bang for your buck because it literally can make you money. If you have clients, it will make them money, and I just think it's a steal. We just got to get the word out there more, and hopefully you guys can help us and you start believing in it as much as we do. And as the key thing Josh said was, the more users, the more data we have, the better we can improve, and it benefits the users. So every time we see somebody doing something in the tool and rankings increase or decrease for that matter, we adjust. And ultimately we want to build the best tool possible. We have a great framework for it, but we'll always be able to tweak based on user data. I don't know any other tool that does that. And so that's something I'm very proud of because we're always trying to move towards not perfection, but as close as we can get, as close as what Google is doing. We want to be there. I already think we're there above other competitors. This AI is changing things like crazy, and everybody's going to get in on it. There's a lot of smart people out there, but we just want to be ahead of the curve and, getting more users and having more of the community and be involved in this helps the whole group.
And another really good point is, and the reason why Keyword Spy has to work is because we use it to rank our own pages. So we want it to work, right? We're also SEOs too. So we need the tool to work. So yeah. And we're going to build an AI that's going to watch the vectorization of bad numbers and good numbers. And in the future, it'll be able to do it in real time as well. So we'll also know when Google does an update, oh, the over optimization penalty has changed. You need to be at these numbers now. Blink, we're going to see it. And things are going to change automatically. And we're just going to keep building with auto pages and ties into your WordPress that automatically change your sites and all this crazy stuff that's coming down the pipe. Stephen asked last question, how do you sign up to be an affiliate? How do you sign up to be an affiliate? You got to email Greg to sign up to be an affiliate.
You email me, and we are doing it very, very old school. We're doing it by email and Google Sheets, and we'll probably add a more automated affiliate. But we're really trying to keep things close within our group. We're trying to build a community here. We don't want to, be SEM Rush and have 100,000 customers. We want to have a small knit of SEOs, maybe some small business owners in there that really want to get into the SEO game. But keeping it small, keeping it personal is really what we're trying to do. We're not trying to be SEM Rush or Ahrefs or Surfer even, and just have tens of thousands of, customers using it. And honestly, just being a number, we're going to flip that on its head. And that's why I said, it's a supply and demand thing. The price is low today. We're going to keep our numbers low, which, economics, you reduce the supply, the demand's high. And guess what happens to the price? It goes up. So that's just, basic
Plus,
economics.
all the engineering that goes behind this is insane. Like we've spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars building this.
No doubt with that.
Great. Okay. Well, I've got to go eat lunch. Greg has got to go whack a golf ball around and get angry at the golf ball and hit it more and things of that nature.
Yep.
So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Keep watching the show for more free SEO stuff and more SEO stuff that we'll talk about. Not every show we're going to talk about Keyword Spy, so don't worry. It's not just a sales show. We're going to have other stuff to talk about as well in terms of everything SEO and everything AI. And we're now Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, and watch on Fridays. I'll be releasing the cut version of previous shows, and including shorts as well. So guys, we want you to make money like crazy, and we want you to succeed at SEO. Try out our tools and try out our theories, and I hope that will help you guys out. All right, so until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, guys.